is day 1 of Battleathon. Okay, technically it is day 0 of Battleathon. Battleathon starts tomorrow. However, I am getting on a plane tomorrow and going to California for SteamyLitCon. So I am starting this vlog early because I need to pack the books that I'm going to be reading, but I don't know what I'm going to be reading. If you have no idea what Battleathon is, it is a competitive team-based readathon that is hosted by Mel over at Melanor Reads, and I am co-hosting Team Wings with Cassidy over at Covers with Cassidy, and the idea is just to read all of the 5-star books. All of the books you think you're going to love. And the thing is that is scary. So I'm actually like making themed vlogs for the month, because if I've been just like told to go and read all of the good books, I won't read any books. So instead we're doing some challenges. So this week is all about reading books with royal words in the title. That is the Team Wings bonus prompt. So we get a couple of extra points for it. It's not substantial, so it's not like a requirement, but I thought it would be a fun first week challenge to kind of come out the gate strong. And of course we are going to be letting the spinner wheel decide what we're going to read. So without further ado, let's head over to the wheel. Okay, so we are letting the wheel decide what we are reading, kind of. I do want to give myself some agency, some decision, but I don't want all of the choices. So what we're going to be doing is using this wheel to pick the word, and then I will be able to pick a book from there. Now, there are some on here that I think I only have 1 or 2 choices, and then there's some that I have a ton of choices. So let's see what our first read is going to be. So Court was actually not one that I really wanted. It's not one where I have any physical books that I have to read, I don't think. I don't have any Court books. Not me just looking at fantasy romance and not even looking at my regular fantasy shelf. However, I do really want to read Court of Blood and Bindings by Lizette Marshall. This is a book that kind of went around a little bit earlier in the year. A lot of people were reading it, and it seems like it would be something that I would be interested in. The magic system is color-based, which sounds really interesting, really intriguing. And the Goodreads synopsis sounds pretty good. I'm not gonna read it all because it's kind of long, but I will say I'll like read you the short quick snippet. It's the first book in the Fae Isles series, a enemies to lovers fantasy romance featuring a strong-willed heroine and a broody, morally gray hero. We always love those. Court of Blood and Bindings contains a generous dose of smoldering glances, angry yearning, and midnight meetings of the illicit type, as well as other mature themes. So, sounds like it could be really interesting. I am intrigued. Do I know that this will be 5 stars? No, but it could. It could. I haven't read a ton of Fae fantasy romance recently, so we're gonna try this. And I was able to get the audiobook for it, because if you download it on Kindle Unlimited, then you can get the Whisper Sync for like $7. So I did that, so that way I have an audiobook on the go. But with me going to SteamyLit, I am bringing my Kindle, and so when I'm standing in lines, I can read physically, maybe, perhaps, who knows, we'll see. Good morning. I forgot about this vlog. I forgot that it existed, which is fine because I haven't finished a book. It's Saturday, we're at SteamyLit, and I'm gonna do my makeup while we talk, while we chat. I did not sleep well last night, which is bad for sleeping and not being exhausted today, but great because I read 30% of Court of Blood and Bindings. Do I remember what the author's name is? No, but there's the cover. So far, I am enjoying the banter. I don't necessarily understand the plot yet, which is probably not good for 30%, but I'm having a good time with the banter. There's a point where she says, I would literally rather fuck a cactus. And he goes, let me know how that goes for you. Margaret's laughing in the other room. I was like, yeah, that's a highlighted part. So the banter be bantering for sure, and I can understand why other people have liked this book. I also really like the magic system and how different colors mean different things, and like they use red for destruction, they use blue for healing, and like how certain colors, like when you mix certain colors, that mixes the magic. And I just think that's really unique, and it's not something that is I mean, it's definitely not something that you see very often, but at the same time, I do think that it's a very typical like Fae story. So there's unique aspects to it, but it's not 100% unique, of course. I do think that any romantasy is going to struggle on the back of reading House of Bane and Blood that I read last week, because nothing is going to stand up to it at that point. So I just have to remember that, like, we are reading two very different stories and they should not be compared. I can't talk and do eyeliner at the same time, so hold that thought. Other than that, I don't have too much to talk about, to discuss. There is a training montage scene, which, like, you love to see in a book, or, like, you know, it's a pretty popular micro trope, I guess, in a romantasy, where she's, like, trying to learn the magic.
Genre expectation.
There you go, that's the word. And that was a fun added element. It's a little bit longer than I think it needs to be, because I feel like at 30, I think it was like 32% when I finally fell asleep. We haven't moved fast enough. We haven't gotten to the point yet. And the book is almost 500 pages long. So, like, maybe we don't actually need that much time to set things up and develop. But I'm still hopeful. Like, I'm not hating the book by any stretch of the imagination. I would love to finish the book today. Do I think that will happen? Absolutely not.
We can make it happen.
No, it probably won't. I do have the audiobook, so, like, in the event, like, maybe when we get back in the evening and I will probably likely want to take a nap or rest, that could be a thing. I'm gonna go, because we are supposed to probably leave in like 20 minutes and I need to finish getting ready. So I need to pack up the books. So I'll chat later. Hello, I am back home. It's a Monday afternoon and I wanted to chat with you. I meant to do this much earlier in the day, but it's been a busy day. So I finished Court of Blood and Bindings yesterday on the plane ride home from Steamy Lit, and I actually enjoyed this. I think that when I talked to you last, I had very mid feelings about it, and, like, I like the banter, but I wasn't necessarily, like, loving the characters and the writing style. And I think as we got further into it, I cared about that less, or at least it bothered me less. And listen, Creon, we love a brooding, misunderstood, wounded hero, okay? And Creon fits that bill to a T. And I don't know, like, the reveals that happened later on that kind of show just what kind of he's not a person, but a fae he is, what kind of a leader he is, just kind of really makes you root for him. And yeah, I think the book started slow, but as we continued on, I really started liking it. So I'm giving it 4 stars. Not quite 5 stars, but I'm definitely going to continue on with the series. I will download them. I will read them when I get a chance. Probably not for this readathon, because I, have a lot of books to read. But I'm really glad that I read it, and yeah. It's a new fantasy romance series that I can get excited about. There are 4 books out right now and 5 books, but I think the 5th one comes out in March. Oh, you know what? That will fit in our fantasy, because I was going to use, I think, Blood and Steel, because the our fantasy is like first in a series and the book has to have more than 3 books in it. And so Blood and Steel was a quartet, and I was like, oh, I'll just use that one because I own it physically. But this one works too. So that's exciting. Then I spun again. Now this is a pre-recorded spin, because I actually spun a couple of times prior to leaving for Steamy Lit, so that I, knew what I was going to read next. So I spun and got King, and I am going to be picking up The Ever King by L.J. Andrews. I have a couple of options on my TBR for King. I think that's one of the words that I could have used a lot for, but this one is on my Kerplunk TBR, and so I thought I would be smart about things and read required things. This book is for the Pirates of the Caribbean girlies, okay? If you were a fan of that movie, if you watched that movie on repeat, specifically the beginning of this book really feels like the beginning of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where, like, she's getting taken, like, they where they, like, find her and they take her onto the ship and she yells parlay and all that stuff. Like, that scene, like, it's not a beat for beat scene, but, like, the essence of that scene, the vibe of that scene is very much the beginning of this book. Obviously there are fae in this, so, like, the story is very different. It's very much giving, like, the Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, like, those early days. And I'm having a good time with it. I don't know that I am understanding necessarily what is going on in the plot, but it's, like, very complex. The world is very complex. The magic system is very complex. And so I am a little bit lost at what's going on, but I'm here for the ride and I'm trusting the process. So the idea is to be able to finish it today, but I don't know. and I still have half the book. I need to edit a video, and I've been spending most of the day making content and stuff like that. I took today off work so that I could kind of reset, and that was the plan. Did it happen the way that I wanted it to? Not really, but that's okay. I still got a lot done today, but I haven't done any reading. So that is the plan. That's the goal for today, at least to be able to finish it by like midday tomorrow, and then we can continue on. This first vlog will be longer than my other ones just because week 1 is technically 10 days. So I'll have a little bit of a longer vlog, a little bit more options to read from, but I just wanted to come in and update you. So I've read my first book for this vlog, and it was 4-star. So I'm calling that a win, honestly. Like 5 stars are few and far between in my world, although last month we did really, really well. And I know that by the end of this week, I'm going to be able to get a 5-star. This one just wasn't quite there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hello, it's Wednesday. I might be sitting in the same spot that I was last time I talked to you. Do apologize for that, but it's Wednesday. I finished The Everking last night. I'm giving it 3 stars. Like, this book was fine. I think it had a good idea, and I think the vibes were there. So if you're a vibes book kind of person, this might work for you. It wasn't the content that I had a problem with, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is such a dark book, and I just never connected to the story. I never connected to the characters, and I wanted more pirates, okay? Like, if you're telling me this is a pirate romance, I want pirates. And I feel like we were promised that at the beginning of the book, and then it just really under-delivered. I don't know. There's this battle that happens, but we see it from her perspective, and she isn't there, or like at least like in the thick of it. And so like, why was she the perspective? It would have been much cooler to see it from his perspective and to like really be in the thick of it. I don't know. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. So 3 stars. Glad I read it. Glad I, can at least converse with other people. But I used this as my like job of the day, short and real, and everyone's like, oh, I hope you love The Everking, and like I'm reading these comments and I'm like, I don't love it. So I'm really hoping that the wheel will be kind to me, because I think we need to go away from romantasy, because I feel like I'm still on such a high from House of Bane and Blood that like nothing is going to live up to that, although I am like still thinking about Court of Blood and Bindings. So like I'm gonna continue that series. Not now, not this month, but like I am going to continue that series. But anyways, yeah, I kind of hope that the board or the wheel will be kind and give me something like even just regular fantasy would be fine. The problem is I just don't have that much. Like, I have a lot of romantasy books with royal words in the title. I don't have a ton of like fantasy books. I have a couple that will work, but I'm sure they probably have romantic subplots. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll get this, okay? Let's go spin and see what we get. Yeah, I don't have anything that's not romantasy that has Queen in the title. But I did pick up The Fae Queen's Captive by Sarah Simone at Seamulet last weekend, and thought this would be a great book to read. And it does not have an audiobook, so that means that I will probably have to read something else during the day. But it's only like 160 pages, so super short. I should still be able to finish this tonight. I have sprints tonight, and I feel like I could easily finish this on sprints, if not before, if I just kind of like sit down and chill and read. So that's what we're gonna do. I do have to work today. I'm working from home because it's Wednesday. I need to go get some breakfast. That's the first item on the agenda, and then just try to figure out what I'm doing today, because I have a lot of work to do, but it's just a lot of busy work. Just still trying to get back from vacation. I filmed this last night, and I had gotten a new mic for my phone, so I was testing it out, and I need to fix the settings on it because it sounded real weird. It was like too much, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I gotta mess with it. So I'm filming this again. It's Friday now, and I finished The Fae Queen's Captive Wednesday night. Yes, that's how days work. So I finished it. I'm giving it 3 stars. I didn't like it. Like, I mean, that's a generous 3-star. I actually thought it was gonna be 2.5 stars. But when I like put it into my spreadsheet, like with the points or whatever, it ended up being a 2.7, which for me is a 3. But it was just like, it was a little bit boring. Hold on, there's something coming out. Okay, I'm sitting in the parking lot of my job, and someone was walking out that knows what I do. Anyways, I feel like Sierra is really good at writing characters, okay? Like, you really connect with the character, and even in like Salt in the Wound and even her vampire one, like, you connect with those characters even though it's super short. In this one, I never felt like we connected to them. Did love that it was sapphic. I don't think Sierra writes a lot of sapphic relationships. I'm trying to think if she writes any that I've read. I don't think so. I really love that representation, and the fact that like it was like an intro into a fantasy romance. Like, she writes mostly contemporary. Obviously she's had the vampire one, but anyway, it was different from what she normally writes, and I appreciated that, but it just wasn't for me, unfortunately. I have had such a mid-range of books this week, which is frustrating, and I'm really excited about next week because we're actually going to start working with, like, you know, potential 5-star predictions rather than just like this gimmick of a royal word in the title. So I'll kind of be able to like step outside my comfort zone a little bit, because I've been reading a lot of fantasy romance, and listen, House of Bane and Blood was so good, and it's still living rent free in my head, and nothing is comparing to it. So I did decide that we were going to try to stray away from fantasy romance. And actually I brought my book, it's in my backpack. I spun the other, like, what was it, Thursday morning, and got Empire. So I decided to pick up Empire of Gold. I am about 25% of the way through this. I have been listening to it on audio. It's chunky, okay? It's like 750 pages, which may not have been the greatest idea for this, but it's been 2 years since I've been in this world. It has been almost 2 years since I've read Kingdom of Copper, and I feel like I still like jumped right back into the world. I was like, I remember the characters, I remember the setting, I remember the magic system, which is really strange for me. Normally when I finish a book, it leaves my brain. I cannot remember things. Sorry, my allergies are really bad today. The smoke is so bad. We're supposed to get rain tonight, and I'm really, really hoping we do. But I think we're going to, because honestly, I think I hear thunder. Yeah, that's definitely thunder. But with this book, I've just like, I felt so immersed right back into it. I love Shannon's writing. It's just so good. And already at 25%, I feel like we have a potential 5-star on our hands, which is good. I did listen to a couple of podcasts. I listened to Sam's from Thoughts on Tomes, her spoiler reviews on City of Brass and Kingdom of Copper, and there was another podcast that I also listened to that had like 45-minute recaps on the first 2 books. So I listened to those, and then I jumped into the book, and I feel like I know enough. Obviously there are some things that like I was like, oh, what are we talking about? Okay, yeah, now I remember. And then I went on to like the City of Brass Wikipedia page to look at a couple different things just to like kind of remind myself, because obviously I don't have time for a reread. I do think though that once I finish this series, I might go back and reread the whole thing, just because like I love this series. It's so good. That's my update right now. I don't remember what else I talked about on when I was filming this yesterday. So it's fine. I was really hoping that this microphone would work, because now that I've been doing like reels and TikToks and stuff, I wanted something better than just like my phone audio, because I have to do a lot of work post edit for this to sound even remotely okay. And so I was like trying to avoid that, and I don't know if this is the one. We'll see. I might be able to work with it and fix it, but I wanted to refilm this clip just in case like it didn't work. So my plan is to finish this tomorrow, and this will be the last book for this vlog. 4 books in a vlog I feel like is good. 4 books in 10 days. It's good. It's a good match. So anyways, I'm gonna head home before it starts storming, and I'll talk to you later. Hello, I'm here to close out the vlog. It's Sunday actually, so technically week 1 ended yesterday, but wasn't feeling great yesterday. I don't know if I'm getting sick or if it's the like smoke that's in the air, because the entire state of Utah is on fire. I've had a sore throat since like Thursday, and now I'm getting like a little bit of a sinus, like some sinus pressure, which is compounding my tooth problem, because it's like pushing on the already infected problem. So it's been a fun couple of days. But yeah, I ended up like on the couch the entire day yesterday, which is fine. Like I probably needed it. Did I have plans to be very productive this weekend? Yes. Have I done any of it? A little bit. I'm like sitting here, I've cleaned most of this up. I meant to do it yesterday, but I've cleaned quite a bit of it up, and then I'm gonna film my book haul, and then I've got sprints in 40 minutes, so we do have to wrap this up. But I did read half of Empire of Gold yesterday, which, I mean, I guess is productive. That's 400 pages of a book in one day. 5 stars. 5 stars. She knows how to close a series. She knows how to close a series. This, like, it's really hard for fantasy series to do, is like to close something of this scale and give us all of the answers that we were looking for, and like not leave anything, like, you know, I don't know, no stone was unturned, no, like, there's nothing that we were still guessing about. This was wrapped up so beautifully, so well. 5 stars. So even though we didn't start the vlog on such a high note, we ended it with a winner, and I'm very proud with everything that I've done for week 1, and very excited about week 2, because like I have a little bit more guidance with the rest of this, because week 1 was very much like, oh, I'm like honing in on the bonus words, which is only like a very small portion of it's 10 points. It's not like it's giving us that many more points, but going forward, these are things that like 5-star predictions, finishing series I love, authors that I've loved before, that kind of thing. So week 2 will be authors that I love. So you'll see that vlog next week. If you want to see the standings, Mel already put them in her vlog. They should already be in the Discord as well by the time you're seeing this video. But 5 stars. I'm proud of this. This was a good week. Good week. Now I should figure out what I'm reading for week 2. That's all I have for you today. If you want to see my August TBR, where like that's the guiding plan here, I'll put that right here. And if you're not feeling chatty, put your team emoji down in the comments below. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Instagram, Goodreads, Twitter, and my Patreon are linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!